Brendan, how you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good, man. With the band The Nocturnal Affair from Las Vegas.
Mhm.
What's it like out there right now? Is it still warm?
It's finally getting really nice
Yeah,
for
finally.
about 4 to 8 weeks out of the year. It's perfect. And we have our Renaissance Fair coming up. Halloween happens. It's gorgeous. Then right after Thanksgiving, it kind of sucks, but it's not as sucky as winter everywhere else in the country.
Yeah, so you're saying it's beautiful right now. What describe beautiful? Because for me right now, it's been rainy and shitty and 40 degrees. Like, in the middle of the day, it's like 65 or so, but
It's like 75, 76 degrees in Vegas, nice and cool, not humid.
you know,
And then sun goes down, maybe it goes to like 69 to 70. That's, but yeah.
I've only been to Vegas once, and that was back in 2017. And my wife was pregnant at the time. So good for me because I was able to have a good time. But she's like my partner in crime. So it's like, she couldn't have a good time as far as, partying and shit like that. So I kind of, you know, just by default kind of kept it cool, but
Yeah.
I'll have to go back. There's a bar there I want to go to really bad. Brewdog. They just put a bar on the top of the rooftop on the strip there, I think.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
Yeah. It looks sweet. But we're not here to talk about Brewdog or Vegas for that matter. We're here to talk about the Nocturnal Affair. And you're coming up. We're in about a week or so. Actually, by the time this airs, you might already be on tour with Fozzy.
Cool. Okay.
What do you
Yeah,
think about that? Like, what are your what that sounds pretty neat.
I'm pretty excited. This is going to be our third time going out with them, our second time going out with Seventh Day Slumber, and also Magdalene Rose. I always mispronounce her name. I always say Magdalena or whatever, but she's absolutely fantastic. She fronted GFM when we were doing our first tour with Fozzy, and she's got some of the coolest vocals I've heard in the business. And I believe she's going to be playing with Seventh Day Slumber, who they're just like the sweetest people I've ever met. And
So
of course,
not your
amazing.
first time, not your first time with Fozzy.
Yeah.
That's that's interesting. What was that like before?
They really kind of taught us the way of the road in the most professional way possible. I know the Fozzy Boys have been doing it for a long time. I know Rich and the rest of the guys were doing it with Stuck Mojo for a hot minute, and they're just so professional. They're so kind. They're not crazy partiers. They get in, they put in the work, they have fun, they make sure everybody that shows up has fun, and they move on. It's really cool,
So they're pros.
completely.
I mean, I only know of Fozzy because they were actually in town probably 5 years ago in the Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania area, FM Kirby Center. Um, and I mean Chris Jericho. I mean, what else you gotta say?
Oh yeah.
So I'm not completely familiar with the music, but people people get pumped about it.
Yeah. Um, you haven't heard a lot of Fozzy's music?
No, I haven't.
It's good, man. I mean, it's Stuck Mojo with Chris Jericho singing. It's really cool.
Okay.
And they work with some really cool producers. I mean, Rich Ward is one of the sickest guitar players I've ever seen, and he's got a killer voice on top of it too. And so do the rest of the guys. The rest of the guys are extremely vetted in their instruments, and they've all got great voices. So it's pretty cool.
Very cool. Well, talk to me about the Nocturnal Affair. When you guys started, the music is awesome. I'm a huge fan of that song. What is it called? Uh, shit, I didn't write it down. It's that good. I forgot about it now. It's actually like the top song on the Spotify playlist. It's not your most listened to song on Spotify, surprisingly, which is weird because I think it's the best one. But that's just my opinion. Who do I know?
I appreciate that.
But I mean, it has like a almost like a Breaking Benjamin vibe to it. Your music, I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult.
A huge compliment to me.
Yeah, I
Those
love
guys
that.
are fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, they're from where I'm from. I have an honor of knowing a couple of those guys, but A Thousand Ways to Die is the song I'm talking about.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah, that's a cool tune. Um, but talk to me about the band. When you guys started, how it all came together. The style. I mean, I kind of already alluded to the fact that it sounds a little bit like Breaking Benjamin, but I mean, it's probably more than just that.
I started the band back, I want to say in 2014, 2015, as a joke. It was under another name, and we played our first show at the House of Blues in Las Vegas, and it was a corporate event. We opened up for a Duran Duran cover band, and the place was packed wall to wall. It was full. People went crazy for us. We got off stage, and people bum rushed us looking for merch. And at the time, it was just the joke band. We were even anonymous. It was me and a few other guys from another band I was in, and we covered our faces and we did a few originals and I think like a Cure cover or something like that. And when we got bum rushed off the stage, I was like, okay, maybe I have something here. 2017, changed the name and started kind of writing a little bit more from the heart. Started working with Logan Mader. 2019, went on our first tour with the 69 Eyes. Started working with John Moyer from Disturbed for this project. I've worked with him in the past. He's fantastic. And now we're here.
Well, that was a quick version. What were you playing like back when you first started that, it was a joke and
Well, it wasn't a joke like I was making fun of the genre. It was a joke like I wasn't really taking it seriously because I needed a passion project so I could kind of get the nerves out while I had a few metal bands going, and they were driving me a little crazy because I'm a bit of a control freak. And the bands I was in, everybody was kind of fighting to get their voice heard, fighting for the limelight. So I needed something to where I could get my ideas out, feel good about it, and not worry about anybody else's opinion. So that's why I started this. So I was a big fan, I still am a big fan of, Sisters of Mercy, the 69 Eyes, Typo Negative, David Bowie, Peter Murphy, like all that other goth stuff. And so it was like pretty slow, drudgy, sang really low, a bunch of other stuff, and really inspired by that era of music.
yeah, I mean, it has definitely like a early to mid 2000s vibe.
If you listen to our demos, I think it's still on Spotify.
Hmm.
Uh, that's kind of where we were at. It was a little bit like we're a little punk rock with how we do shit. We sound a little crappy. It's kind of on purpose, kind of just because we don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And and then we ended up getting managed by Des Fafara 2017. And he was like, where the fuck did you guys come from? And we did a few newer tracks, and then us and Des kind of parted ways, but we're still on good terms, and now moved on.
But the type of music you perform and record, you're very like just real, just chill. Do you save it for the stage? Is that what you do?
Uh, Normally I'm actually pretty goofy, but I'm just exhausted. I've been working all day in the studio. I'm working with a new producer right now on an upcoming single that we're going to be dropping here soon. And it was a long day, but it was a good day. It was very awesome. Really cool guy to work with. I'm just tired.
Can you say who that is? Because I mean, you told me earlier today. Because yeah, it's been a long day. You were up early. You thought you missed this interview because you thought it was 9 a.m., but it's actually 9 p.m. on a
Yeah,
Wednesday.
I'm
But
back with ways.
the producer has a pretty decent
Yeah, yeah, I can talk about him.
yeah. Go ahead.
It's John, and I'm currently in Atlanta, Georgia. Beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. This place, it's I love it here because I'm from the East Coast. I'm from Boston, and I love the South. I love New Orleans. I love Florida. I love all the southern side. I just love the hospitality, the food. It's just like the weather. It's probably just because it's so different than living in a dry ass desert all the time. So anyone in
Sure.
the east, the south, I'm just having a blast. So currently in a place called Peachtree Corners outside of Atlanta, and it feels like I'm in Massachusetts right now. It's not too cold. It's not too humid. But so it's like there's an East Coast aspect to like what's available for food and the people, but then there's also the Southern comfort of it as well. It's such an interesting experience.
And Johnny Andrews, you said, has worked with bands like Hailstorm, Motionless in White, also from my area,
Yeah.
and 3 Days Grace.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
Among
cool.
many, many, many more.
Yeah.
He works with Fozzy a lot. He does a lot of their really, really great tracks with them. Like I believe he worked on I Still Burn. He's responsible for Judas. Like he's the dude is just a great producer and he brings out the best in every artist he works with.
Is this your first time working with him? And what's that been like?
We hit it off. I mean, he's really cool. He's very funny. So it's kind of hard for us to stay on track because we'll do something, we'll get somewhere with the song, and then one of us kind of pipes up a joke about it, and then it reminds us about something. Then we next thing we know, we've been talking for like 45 minutes. Like, oh right, yeah, we're here for a reason. Like, let's do it. So he's really great. He's super cool.
Yeah, that's neat. Has he brought out a different aspect of the band and during this process?
Yes. Yeah.
And what aspect?
Well, he's bringing his songwriting style to the table as well. So usually I write everything for Nocturnal, and I'll have my guitar player Andy come in and like redo guitars because he's one of the best guitarists I've ever met in my life. And he writes amazing solos. He writes fantastic riffs, and he just like he can take something I've written or something I haven't written, and he can just add to it and make it sound phenomenal. But most of the time I write like the basic skeleton of the song and bring it to, either if I'm working with John Moyer or Logan Mader, I'll bring it to them and they kind of help, mold it. But with Johnny, we've started from scratch and it's really a team effort on this. And it's a new adventure for me because I'm not used to doing this, but he's being very patient and he is a very good communicator. And he's very good at telling me why my idea will work or my idea won't work for the goals we've set for the upcoming single, like where we would like it to land and what I want to do with it and where I would like my career to go. And so he's like, you could make it sound like Mr. Bungle and Tom Waits and, all the other crazy bands that influence you and maybe like 3% of people will like it, or you can make a product that you're proud of and also people will enjoy. So, yeah, it's interesting.
It's kind of neat how producers, they're almost like like therapists. They can kind of bring different things out of different people. And like
Yeah,
each one is like different from the other one. It's just like it I always like think it's cool how bands work with different producers. It's like, you know, it's almost like it'd be foolish to a degree to work with the same one every time because you want to be able to have a different set of ears on something or just have a different set of inputs on things that you're working on and kind of help you grow and navigate the
I
space.
the only bands I've heard continuously work with the same producer and it's come out better and better and better are probably bands that work with Kevin Churko. Kevin Churko is just a powerhouse of a producer and a songwriter, and everything he touches turns to gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who does he work with? I'm not familiar with that
Uh,
chain.
he's pretty much been responsible for Five Finger Death Punch for
Okay.
like most of their career. Logan Mader did Wave the Fist and a bit of War's the Answer. And then I think Kevin Churko did everything from that on.
I feel like Five Finger Death Punch gets a bad rap.
They do. Anybody who's as successful as them is going to get a bad rep.
Yeah.
They're lucky to get that bad rep because it doesn't phase them with how successful they've been in the industry. Same thing happened to Metallica. Same thing happened to Three Days Grace. Same thing has happened to Breaking Benjamin and Chevelle and Tool and anybody
Nickelback.
outside of the underground level and releases one or two songs or records that maybe a certain type of person doesn't enjoy, all of a sudden, they get about it. Even dude, Imagine Dragons, they deserve all of the success they've gotten.
Yeah, but I don't know. Their most recent like one or two albums. I was a huge fan from the beginning.
Yeah.
And even as they got like, real mainstream, I was still like, this is still good, still good, still good. And then like, they kind of lost me the last couple. I don't know.
But it's they're doing well with it. That's the thing.
Sure,
So
yeah. I mean,
the Killers did it. I mean, it's just at the end of the day, as unhappy people can be, if the person that created the art is happy with their release, it doesn't matter. If they're happy
no.
with it and it's doing them well, they're getting the tours that they want, they're seeing the success that they are looking for, and they're enjoying their career path, they're enjoying the journey. Like, yeah.
Well, that's
Slipknot,
why.
oh, Slipknot, dude. Like I remember when they released Volume 3 and everybody threw a fit. And I was just that was actually when I was getting into like heavier music, and Slipknot was the doorway for me to discover metal. That's when I started discovering thrash metal, death metal, black metal, metal core, doom metal, all that stuff. And that all started from hearing Duality. That was where it began. Like before that, the heaviest thing I'd listened to was Metallica. And a buddy of mine showed me that song, and I was like, who's this? I was this kid. I'm like, well, those aren't masks. And like, I remember thinking, this is one of the heaviest things I've ever heard. And I went to school the next day, and I was like, listen, man. I was like, yeah, man, I got a t-shirt. I had the whole thing going. And a bunch of dudes were like, man, they suck now. This is the worst fucking record they've ever released. And it became one of their most popular. And
Right.
then they skyrocketed. And now, like, when people think back to those times, they're like, yeah, dude, like, Volume 3 is one of the best records they've done, aside from, of course, Iowa being the heaviest. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not fair. I mean, I say this a lot on this show. It's not fair to like, everyone wants bands to sound the same every record, or, you know, you said Slipknot, like people think they sold out, um, to mainstream, all that kind of shit. But like, why else do you do this stuff? And like, you're artists, you're supposed to be creative, you're supposed to take risks and chances and be different than the last. Like it's not fair for us as consumers and fans to be mad at them for not creating the same record they made last time.
yep. Yeah, I've even, dude, it's even my friends. I had friends that were extremely supportive of this band when I started it, when it was like the days of, the demos, the EP that's on the our Spotify. And the moment I started dropping shit that sounds like Metamorphosis, which is still like, that's, it's produced by Moyer and Logan, but like we didn't make it in of it being commercial, right? Or it wasn't made for radio, but it's so like well polished, very well mixed, very well mastered, very well produced, that like I have a lot of friends that heard it and went, dude, you've already sold out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I've showed this record to labels and they're like, it's not commercial enough. What do you mean I've sold out? Like,
Yeah.
what? So I don't know, man. It's funny.
I'll never forget when A Day to Remember came out with their album. I forget the title of the album, but it was like 2 years ago. They got torched, and I thought it was great.
It's fantastic. They're
You
and they're
know,
fantastic live. Oh my God. I
yeah.
watched them Papa Roach a few years back.
Mhm. Yeah. Speaking of these bands, I are a lot of these like kind of inspirations of yours as you kind of
It
create?
really my mood, man. It depends on what I'm listening to. I write many different styles, and that's another reason why I've kind of, we're going to Johnny Andrews right now. It's because he's kind of helping me hone in on one subject so I don't write five different genres. Like, I was supposed to be getting ready to meet this guy and work on something for Nocturnal. And last week I woke up and I wrote, a doo-wop song.
Hmm.
And it's just like when I feel it, I write it. So it's everything from Faith No More and Mr. Bungle, a lot of Mike Patton stuff. I do love me some Breaking Benjamin, especially like So Cold era when I discovered them was like that was mind-boggling music to me. I thought that was so cool. And then obviously there's Chevelle, the bands that sound like them, and just all that stuff, man. Yeah, there's that, but also I learned guitar and I'm extremely influenced by like Gothenburg, Sweden bands like The Haunted and At the Gates and like thrashier stuff, right? So it's just I love Prince, I love Bowie, I love all that. It's whatever I'm feeling.
Well, recently you just released a single. It's a cover of Depeche Mode, correct?
Yep. Oh yeah.
It's called "It's No Good." So how did that kind of come about?
I had it sitting in a garage band project since like I don't know, 10 years ago. I've
Oh wow.
always wanted that song, and I had a pretty rough version of it that I've kind of updated over the years. And I have like this list of covers that I love and would love to do. And I've recorded so many demos of them by now that we could probably drop a covers record. But I think at this point in our career, it's kind of pointless because who cares, right? Who cares yet? But
I care.
yeah, I think once we have a bigger audience that can like respect it, cool. But while we're still being discovered and I'm still telling people our story, I'd say dropping a covers record would be a little silly because
Sure.
people are like, oh, I've never heard of them before. And there's a lot of, are they a cover band? What's going on here? But, we do have another cover in the works here that we might drop as our next single. I don't even know what we're doing yet. I don't know if it's going to be an original. I've got like 14 written, produced, finished songs ready to go that happened over the pandemic. I've got this song now with Johnny Andrews. I've got something else I'm working on too. It's who knows what's next, but like I've also digressed so much that I don't remember what the question was.
Well, not just how the cover song came about.
Depeche Mode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. We were working on our next EP, and I showed it to Moyer, and he was like, "This is tits. Let's do it," and we did it. And we kind of showed it to our team, and we're like, what's the strongest song out of this handful of songs? And they were like, it's definitely Depeche Mode. Let's drop it.
And you were sitting there for 10 years.
The cover, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it came out when I was 7 years old, and I'd loved
Right.
it since I was seven. So y- there's just certain songs that never go away, and that was one of them. And so it's cool that I now get to like play it.
It's so in my opinion, again, not that it matters, but like it's cleaner than the original. Like I really like this song, this version better than the original, just because I think it's cleaner. I mean, back in what was 97 it came out.
Yeah,
Um it was kind of like muddy, which is probably on purpose, right? But like I feel like your version is just it's kind of more polished and cleaner, and I really like it.
I would blame Moyer and Logan for that.
It's a good thing. And I found out too that Chevelle also covered that at one point.
They did actually. I saw that a while ago when I was throwing this idea around because I have that record and it never crossed my mind. Like I'd completely forgotten about it, and I
Dude,
brought it up,
same.
and we
Same.
yeah we recorded it, and then we were showing a few people. I think it was Matt Pinfield. Somebody was like, "Oh yeah, Chevelle did that," and I went, "What?" They're like, yeah, Chevelle has it covered. And I was like, is it recent? And I looked it up and I was like, oh, okay, it was like years ago. So it's like there's still, I think, like almost a decade between ours and Chevelle's, thankfully. So
Well,
that's usually the rule. Like if the song is at least, 10 years old, it's safe for the cover zone.
so when I was looking at it, excuse me, that was on there. Well, I don't know, with Spotify and re-releases,
I
but it was on
wonder what,
there. Yeah, the 02. So that's like 20 some years ago,
yeah.
which
Okay.
is insane.
Oh my God, that was,
Yeah, and that was like that album, and I don't know, like when I heard that, I it just never kind of clicked.
and theirs sounds so different too.
Yeah,
You know, and we, you know, I'm glad we don't have a lot of similarities in that, even though it's this, we covered the same song. So
but that's like what's great about, you know, music too. Just like your own take, your own um just your own vibe, your own thing.
oh yeah.
I love it. But yeah, I thought it was very well done. Very well done. And I couldn't believe Chevelle did it. And I couldn't believe that I didn't recognize that 21 years ago.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because that song that record came out when I was 12. I don't know if I discovered them yet.
So you're young.
I'm 33.
You're a young man.
I mean, if
See,
that's young in the music industry, I'm excited. I'm happy for it. I remember being told when I was 18, you've only got to your early 20s to make it. And at the time, that was true. And then I got to like 25 and 26, and I was starting to pull my hair out, thinking like, oh my God, is it too late? And there was like a weird shift. So now all of a sudden, it's like it's 33 is the new like 20. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter. Nobody cares really about your age unless you want to be a pop icon. So
sure. Yeah. Unless you're trying to sell sex,
exactly.
sell makeup, sell abs.
Yep. As long as you look pretty decent, nobody really cares how old you are.
Yeah, I don't know if you still have it, but you might be hiding like a mohawk type thing.
I recently shaved it.
There you
Yeah, we
go.
got to the store and it was just like I tried to fix it so many times that it was like it was I don't know, the tour mohawk that you see in a band that's from out of town and you can tell, oh, that guy shaves it himself.
Yeah.
It was,
Okay.
and I was like, oh, fuck it. Let's do it.
Fair enough. It grows back, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
For now.
I change my hairstyle every fucking 5 weeks.
I'm jealous of that. My hair is actually the longest it's ever been. Well, maybe it's probably as long as it's been once before. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. Um, I'm like torn because like I'm 40. Um, like my kids in school, so like I see other parents. I don't want them to think I'm a loser. I was like, who's this? Who's this 40-year-old jerk off with this long, like scraggly hair? Like, what are you doing? Like, you're old. Stop it. But I spent a lot of years. I told you before. I was in um local like media, entertainment magazines, newspapers, and I was in radio. But like my primary job in radio was sales. So I had to wear the suit and tie every day, clean cut, everything. So now I work for a screen printing company, and I almost fit in now with the long hair and tattoos and shit like that. Like,
Nice.
so it's cool. But it's like I'm also 40 and I feel weird at the bus stop with parents who are, wearing suits and shit like that. Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
That's awesome. No, that's all. That's what most parents look like in Vegas, at least. That's the scene out there. It's everybody every parent in Vegas is a bartender and covered in tattoos. So you're good.
I'm just trying to fit in.
An insult. That's not an insult. And I mean that to every parent like our age. You know what I mean? 30s to 40s. They look like we're about to go to like a concert or something like that.
I love it. Okay, I'm fitting in.
Yeah.
Fitting in. You mentioned Matt Pinfield. Do you
Yeah.
know him?
Yeah.
Like you guys are friends?
I mean, we're pretty cool.
That's sweet.
We've hung out on quite an occasion. Uh yeah, he was there when we met and kind of showcased to E-Rake. And man, sitting down with that guy and just talking music is the coolest thing in the world. He is like a human encyclopedia of knowledge. And I could sit there and talk to him all day. It's so fun. Because I'm kind of the same way. When I like a band, I obsess over them. I got to know their name. I got to know their age. I got to know when they started. I got to know how long it took for them to be successful. Kind of like what the ingredients were. And then I like to take bands that I love and kind of compare that. Like, what was it about this band and this band and this band that all makes sense as to what brought them to the success that they've reached. And so we've had a lot of that kind of talk. He's just a cool dude. He's a cool dude. He does cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he was an icon. Like for me, growing up watching MTV and shit like that. Like,
He
yeah,
was a little before my generation, a little bit.
yeah.
Like when on MTV, I think I was still watching like Rugrats.
It sounds about right. Yeah. Because like I said, you're 33. I'm 40. I'm gonna be 41 in the next. Well, by the time this airs, it'll probably be almost my birthday.
Ah,
Um, yeah. So well, I mean, it's 41. It's like it's all over. You
dude,
know.
my guitar player is turning. What is he turning? Actually, maybe I shouldn't disclose it. So never mind. But you're
Yeah.
young.
Don't say it. Don't say it. He probably looks fantastic. You don't want to give away his age.
They do look fantastic.
Yeah.
They're beautiful men with big hair, and that's why I put them around me. Take the off my bald head.
That's funny. Yeah. So I grew up watching Matt Pinfield on MTV back when MTV was cool.
I remember who's the other guy?
Well, there's Kurt Loder.
The music news guy. What was his name?
Was it Kurt Loder?
No, it was like
No.
Tucker, right?
Oh,
No,
Carson Daly?
Carson. That's it. What was I think? Oh, because Tucker Carlson,
Carlson,
Carlson.
Carson. Yeah. Yeah. I knew
Definitely
where you're
not.
going.
I was thinking of
No, no,
Carson,
no.
Carson Daly. That guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
Uh,
who else was a big.
that I think Carson Daly was like my generation.
Yeah, that would make sense because um he was probably big late 90s, early 2000s. So that puts me at like 18, 19, 20. So you're a teenager at that point ish.
Uh, Late 90s over to I turned 10 in 2000. So
Huh.
like my preteens and teenage years was I believe Carson Daly was like I think he was like the older guy on the team, but he was like I just remember news about Bam Margera, you know what I mean? The Jackass crew.
Yeah.
I remember waking up to go to school and it was like, ludicrous rapping, walking down the street with big hands. Like that was the major video that was on. You know what I mean? Like you just it was like Maroon 5. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The This love has taken
Get it.
and
Get it.
the hey yeah, hey yeah.
Oh three. Oh three has a big song in oh 03.
Yeah. I was
Man,
years old, man.
it's
Wow.
yeah, I had this like it's slowly fading away, but I like if I bought the CD, um I can kind of tell you like what year it came out. Sometimes I could tell you what month it was. Sometimes I could tell you the week. And there's even some very rare, but like to the almost to the day. Almost to the day.
Crazy. I feel that though. I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember when Audio Slave started, and I remember not knowing who Chris Cornell was. But when Like a Stone would play on MTV, I would just be like fucking dumbfounded. Like I had to have been pretty young, but yeah, man.
Well, that was probably early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember when also what was a big song that I liked when I was a kid? I'd have been it had to have been the fifth grade, so that had to been 2000. It was like maybe spring of 2000. I was Red Hot Chili Peppers dropped the other side.
So what year?
It had to have been either 99 or 2000.
The other
Chili Peppers
side?
other side. Yeah. And I was like in love with that video because like the bass player was sitting on the power lines, playing the power lines like a bass, and the imagery was all like wackadoodle. It's great.
I want to see. I'm curious now. Curious.
I remember being the only kid in my class that like knew the Red Hot Chili Peppers and would like sing like songs like that at school. Everyone else was into like hip hop and rap and pop, and kids were still like in the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and 98 Degrees,
Yeah. So yeah, 99. According to Spotify, June
99.
June 8th, 99.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I mean that's why I love music so much because it has such a it just has an impactful uh, just thing about it. Like again, you attach it to moments of your life, whether it be high school, your friends, unfortunately a loved one passing away. I remember when the Foo Fighters came out with their double disc, In Your Honor, '05. I want to say June 12th. That my dad passed away on June 13th of that year. But again, it's best friends. It's moments of summertime with your, off from school. It's girlfriends. It's all these moments, and you like it's all associated together. And that's one thing I love about music, outside of it just being, you know, an amazing thing. It brings people together. It's nostalgic. It's all these things.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's wild.
I mean, how did you get into music?
Uh, I mean, how far back do you want to go?
It's up to you, man.
My first concert was Little Richard. I was single digits when I saw him. I was a huge fan of Casper the Friendly Ghost,
Okay.
and they had been to a movie, and I remember he did the Casper the Friendly Ghost, Ghost now. Anyway, so he played some type of show in Vegas. I don't even remember what casino it was. My mom took me, and at the time she was a little overweight, and I, being a very young kid with no sense of social morals, or what's nice to say and what's not nice to say, as children do, I'm at this Little Richard concert, and Little Richard turns to the crowd and he's like, "Where's my big girls at? I like those big ladies. Where's my fat girls? Where they at?" And he's like, playing, doing his thing. And I'm like, "Oh," being the kid that just wants to, "Mom, that's you. You're the big girl." She's like, "Please stop, Bren." And I'm like, "No, that's you. They're getting on stage. Go dance with him. That's so fun. She's right here." Like, I'm on my seat screaming that my mom is one of the big. It was so embarrassing, but I will remember that forever. And no, he's amazing though. His music, I was just like awestruck. Um, I've never told that story to
That's
anyone, by the way.
amazing. Yeah, that's cool.
My family. So,
Sorry, man.
um, but what was really cool to later find out is that Little Richard was David Bowie's first concert,
Okay.
and he also pointed out his. No, I'm kidding. Oh yeah, that's. Uh, but so I mean, I saw Little Richard performing, and I was like, "Damn, like a sing on stage." And there have been other bands too I'd seen. Like, my sister introduced me to Metallica. My sister's 19 years older than me, so she was very much a parental figure in my life, practically, because she was so much older than me when I was a baby. So, she introduced me to bands like Metallica, The Offspring, Styx, like stuff like that when I was a kid. So I was, dancing around my room and singing stuff and all that jazz. And I would sneak into the living room at night and turn on the TV and watch like Headbangers Ball. I was like, a kid as well. So it kind of came from everywhere. And then when I was like 11, I started choir, and that's when it made sense. So it's like, oh, I'm singing and I'm doing something that I'm meant to do. At 11 years old, I knew straight up. Like, I was like, oh, like we sang I'll never forget, our first piece in choir we did was Phantom of the Opera medley. And that's how I discovered like musicals like that and stuff. And I was just like, this is fucking amazing. I don't ever want to stop doing this. Can you do it? And like, I found, oh, you could do this for a living? Like, people do this? Like, this is their job? And then nothing else was important to me. Like, I didn't give a fuck. People are like, yeah, make sure you go to college and do all this other stuff and make sure, you find a career path. I'm like, I'm gonna be a musician. That's
Right.
it. This is it. Yeah. I
That's
started
awesome.
guitar when I was 14. Started piano. I played piano just even by ear since I was a kid. But yeah, dude, don't let me ramble. I'll ramble for hours. You gotta be careful.
Dude, you know what? You've had a long day. So this is all up to you. If you want to go, keep going, keep going. I don't want to keep it too long, but No, I mean, this is this stuff. This is stuff that I like to hear about. I mean, it's just like, how do you? Because exactly what you're saying. People are trying to deter you from following your dreams. Like, and you at 11 years old, you're like, this is what I want to do. Like, I
Oh,
want to do this forever. Like, how can I figure out how to do this?
I'm very grateful for the choir teachers that I had, and it's very heartbreaking that choir isn't really an elective that people can take anymore in Clark County School District in Vegas. It's a bit scary, at least last time I heard. Um, it's been years though. But if it wasn't for my choir teachers, I don't know if I would have been driven enough or inspired enough because I had so many people in my life tell me that it was a pipe dream. I had so many people in my life who just automatically assumed I started doing drugs and drinking as an underage kid when I said I wanted to be a rock star. And
Right.
I didn't really touch a single fucking thing until I was like, in late 18. Kids are usually getting drunk at parties when they're super young. That wasn't me. I didn't start doing that shit until much later. But like,
Until you're 21, you follow the rules.
you know what? I would have drinks here and there. Like I was bar mitzvahed at 13, and
I was trying
uh,
to like save you there. I was trying to save you.
oh no, I don't give a fuck. It's okay. You know,
I know. I know.
so I had a little wine, right? Which when you're young and that older people willingly introduce you to alcohol, it
Mhm.
tastes terrible, right? It's not the excitement of like, I shouldn't be doing this. So you have it, you're like, this is bad. No, I'll have soda instead because it's better. You don't understand why people get drunk or whatever. And then when I was 16, I had my first shot of Jack Daniels. And then, yeah, yeah, it's all downhill from there. No, but what was I saying? Yeah.
But just how
Oh,
important the
yeah, people were not supportive. I mean, my family would always be like, "Yeah, you're great music. We're a musical family," but they'd be like, "But have a plan. Have a different plan. Do something else." And I just no, fuck no. I remember being 14, starting high school, and I went to a college. It was one of it was when they started doing high schools in Vegas where they want to set you up for college. So you start going to classes like people would in college, and it was very interesting. But you had a homeroom that you'd go to that was like, gets you prepared for secondary education. And they went around on the first fucking day of high school. They were like, we're gonna share where you're from and what you want to do. And I said that I want to be a professional musician. I want to be a rock star. And the teacher and the whole class laughed at me. And then the teacher continued to laugh, which caused everyone, obviously, to follow suit. And I was like, made a joke of because I said I wanted my career to be in music and the arts. And it was kind of like, oh, good luck, buddy. Sure. Yeah, what do you really want to do? And that was the attitude of everybody in my life until like I became an adult.
now, do you think so? I have my own set of opinions on, if I went back to when I was in high school, like, your guidance counselors, like, in my opinion, they were the worst. They were the like they didn't they had their, top 5 or 10 people that they knew they were going to go to Ivy League schools or going to go be doctors or do whatever. And they definitely helped them like, and guide them into like, filling out the proper paperwork and whatever, XYZ. But outside of and I don't think it's exclusive to my school or just growing up in general. And I shouldn't blame them because I think this is how society was kind of directing everyone, but they didn't really do a great job of you know I think recognizing someone's skill set and saying, hey, like, you perform really great in shop class and maybe math and things like that, and say, have you ever thought of working in construction or working as a not a handyman, but like something where shop and math and all those things would apply to. I just didn't think they did a good job at that, and it's unfortunate. But did you? Go
One of
ahead.
the one of the biggest travesties of that is that they don't teach you about taxes. They don't teach you about financing anything. They don't teach you about credit scores. They don't teach you about responsibilities that are very real. And no matter what path you take in life, you have to be a uh, a member of society that isn't just a fucking bum. You know, they don't teach you any of that.
Not the important stuff, right?
Yeah.
But did you take that and were you like, I'm gonna fucking prove you all wrong?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, to a point. So at the same time I was starting to discover rock music, I also started volunteering at my local haunted house. And every year I would do this thing. And then I decided I wanted to be a part of the haunt industry, the makeup industry. At a very young age, I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, and it scared the piss out of me. And my father went, dude, it's fake. It's like people get paid to put stuff on that guy's face. So he looks like that. And I was like, that's a real job. He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, I could do that. So like since I was a kid, I loved horror, loved special effects makeup. So I got into that for a while. And then from like my early 20s into my mid 20s, I ended up getting a job for the thing that Eli Roth had in Vegas. And also got a job. I started working in production. That's how I brought home the bacon, whatever it is. That's how
Right?
I
Yeah.
at bread, whatever the fucking term is. I kept my lights on with production, working for UFC, ESPN,
Oh shit.
NBA, anything that gave me, hey, we need a PA for this or a production coordinator for this. I've worked on set for American Ninja Warrior. I've done commercials for Denny's. I've done, the Billboard Music Awards. I did iHeartRadio. It's just, it's production.
That's awesome.
So it wasn't until I was like 26 where I was like, okay, all right, I guess I'm doing music. I got a divorce and went, guess I'll start a dark rock band. Batman became Batman at 30. Fuck it. It's never too late. So
That's awesome. Divorce at how old?
I was 26 when I got divorced.
26.
Yeah,
So you married young.
I did.
It's okay.
I'm grateful for it. I'm gra- I'm grateful for the experience. I'm grateful for the journey. Um, divorce never ends because people are happy, but I'm happier now, and I believe she is too. So that's what counts.
Life lessons.
Exactly.
Growing moments.
Yep.
But yeah, so working on all that's all cool stuff. UFC and that's that's cool. Like it's not like you weren't like flipping burgers at Burger King while you're trying to like play music
I
at
mean,
night.
I've been there.
Well, sure, but you know what I'm saying. It's like you were like you're still doing stuff that like
I quit Carl's Jr. to open up for Sticks Artist Speedwagon and Ted Nugent in like 20, it's either 2021 or 2022. I was a manager at Carl's Jr. And the fucking store isn't even there anymore. And I won a contest, and they were like, "You're gonna open up for fucking Sticks, Artist Speedwagon, Ted Nugent at Planet Hollywood in front of like 5,000 people." It's not 5,000, but it was a lot of people. And when you're that young, you're like, it's like 5,000 people. So it's like sweet. So I told my boss, and the next day on the schedule, it was like important meeting, like you can't miss it. It's like you got to go, mandatory. And I was like, I just told you yesterday that I got this amazing gig, and it could be good for my career. And they were like,
nah,
it's either you go to this meeting or you don't have a job next week. And I looked at her and I went, so do you want tickets to the concert? Like,
that's
I
awesome.
and that's when I stopped flipping burgers. But I've had every odd job known to man, and I've worked at like probably in an uncomfortable amount of sandwich shops. I've worked for Capriotti's, Jimmy John's, Porta Subs, Subway, Jersey Mike's, you name it. I did it early 20s.
That's awesome though. It's part of who you are today.
Yeah,
Now, today, are you like a full-time musician?
yes.
That's amazing.
It's fun. I still try to look for some production work here and there. And if my buddy's working a gig and he's like, hey man, like we need somebody, I'll definitely do it because I still love it. I still love working in the arts in any manner, right? So it's cool.
That's awesome.
It's fun.
So, yeah, outside of again, when this airs, you'll be on tour with Fozzy. Outside of that, I mean, is that going to wrap up your 2023?
We don't have any other tours in the books. We're gonna go back to Vegas. and we're gonna play something called like a dark arts market, which is like a big smorgasbord of really cool, thrifty, spooky things that people like to make and sell. And it's like a bunch of artists in the Las Vegas area that are of the darker kind of genre. It's really fun actually, and they've asked us to kind of headline the night. So we're gonna show up and play some music once everybody's done buying shit, and it's just an opportunity to kind of, I don't know, hang out with our crew out there, have a good time. The community is fantastic, and the arts community is really really fucking cool and supportive. So we are very blessed to have people that we have in that community.
Very cool. And what about 2024? Any big plans, either personally or band wise, or maybe nothing solidified yet, but like, is there goals you kind of have in your mind that you want to see kind of be fulfilled?
If I could talk about it, I would.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough. I'll run this back when I see the news. Hey, hey, these guys were talking about this back then.
There you go. Had this in mind.
Yeah, this is what he meant. I'll pull this back. I'll cut out the clip. Like, this is it. This is it. Well, cool, man. Like I said, I don't want to take up your time. I'm sure you have a lot of cool things you want to do in the area you're in, and um, I don't want to take up all your time. So, where can people find you guys online? Where should people go to learn more about the Nocturnal Affair?
Instagram is really cool. TikTok is really cool. Spotify is great. We do have a website. It's just our band name, thenocturnalaffair.com. But you're gonna find everything you need to know on TikTok, on Instagram. You got any questions, reach out to us. Maybe we'll answer you. Maybe we'll be occupied by something shiny.
Well, so just so you know, I tried to follow your band a few days ago when I got this all set up, but I have a problem where I follow just a lot of like artists, musicians, entertainers, and all that. And I guess I've met the capacity that you can follow, which is 7,500 on Instagram. So I hit follow, and I'm like, okay, I think I followed them, and then you hit me up this morning, and it said follow back. I'm like, I know I follow these guys already. So
No,
I
girl. I
yeah,
ain't no back.
so that's why I have not followed back
It's
in case you give a shit. I'm sure it's not that big a deal, but
doesn't hurt my feelings. It's okay.
I know, but it's like one of those things. Like, yeah, I took the time out of my day to like sit down with an interview this guy. He doesn't even like my band, but um, the band name, real quick, where did that come from? Oh,
So I was in a metal band when I started this band, and we had a 24-hour lockout space that we rented a month, every month. And when this band started, when it was, not too serious, we called it the Feels. So I was rehearsing with the Feels one night for our first show, and the guitar player and bass player from the metal band walked into the practice space like late at night, because I practiced at night because that's when the metal band did music, and they just went because they left some rolling papers there and they wanted to roll a joint, and so they came to the practice spot to fucking roll a joint and smoke, and they walk in because they're like they rush in because they hear music being played and like what, and they walk in and it's us, playing this goth rock. We're like, oh hey, and it's like record scratch stops, kind of like oh, like awkward silence. They're just like, what are you doing? It's like, I've got a side project. Like, oh, for how long? Why didn't you tell us? And they started asking me all these questions. Finally, I was like, what do you guys need? We gotta continue rehearsing. And then the next day, they're like, dude, like, why are you playing with them? What's wrong with us? Why are you getting them gigs and not us? What's going on? Do they play? Are they better players than us? Do you like them more than us? And it sounded like when somebody catches their spouse cheating.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
when it was time for me to it was like I was caught having an affair. So
Hmm.
it's the name, called the Nocturnal Affair because it is an affair I was having at night. So that's it.
That's funny. I like that.
Yeah, definitely didn't choose it. It wasn't like a serious like, oh, we are creatures of the nocturnal type. This band is the affair that happens at the night, and I take everything seriously. It's not, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's fun.
Well, dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Looking forward to the news that you'll break eventually.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
Uh,
that.
I, I wish you the best of luck on tour with Fozzy. Safe travels. Hope you guys kill it. Anyone out there watching and listening, please check these guys out. The music's great. And you're a cool dude. I mean, that's it. Makes it even better.
You too, man.
I appreciate it. So thank you so much. And
Thanks for having me.
I'll make sure I unfollow enough people so they can follow you to keep tabs on what you're doing. That's
I-
basically what I'm getting at.
It's all good, dude. Just follow us on TikTok. I think you can follow like millions of people on
Dude,
TikTok.
real quick, I'm sorry, but TikTok, like, what are you guys doing on TikTok?
Everything.
Are you guys funny?
I mean, I don't do it. It's our friend Jessica who also does Fozzy's stuff, and she's like a TikTok genius. Like she's like one of the biggest TikTok influencers out there. She was invited to like the big old TikTok event, was on the red carpet, asked questions by like it was she's hilarious. She's great. And I've learned a lot about social media because I don't know shit about content. And frankly, I don't care. Like, because I'm so focused on like, what am I gonna, what's the next song? What's the next move for Nocturnal? Who are we gonna talk to next? Are we talking to a label? We just got an agent. What's the next tour? And that's all I think about every day. What can move us forward? And sometimes, like posting to the rest of the world and being like, hey, look at us, we're the Nocturnal Affair, doesn't cross my mind. I'm so busy like trying to talk to management, trying to talk to just trying to write, trying to get all the fucking other noise out of my mind. And I avoid social media because if I don't, I won't write because I'll just sit there and I'll scroll for hours after I wake up. And
And
then
hate people. And
yeah, like
yeah.
it's scary. So
Well, you just got one more follower on TikTok. Uh I don't know how to utilize it. I mean, this is a oh
happening.
shit. Whoa.
What's happening?
Whoa. Whoa.
How what is that a thing?
I don't know. Well, I don't know what you did.
What? What's happening?
What is this? It's not working for me. Come on.
All right, do you have an iPhone?
Oh, you're on your iPhone. Yeah, I'm not on my iPhone. What the hell? Wow.
I don't know what's happening, but that's hilarious.
That's amazing.
All right.
Yeah, I'll let you
Well,
go.
yeah, man.
I'll see you on the internet.
Hell yeah.
Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Take it easy.
All right, we'll see you. Oh, what was that? Do you see that? Yeah,
Fuck.
it's amazing. I learned so much tonight in the last 10 seconds. All right, man. Thanks. We'll see you.